Hi, I'm King and welcome to my first actual video. This is really cool and awesome and I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've posted a couple animations, but I haven't actually done any, voiced videos, so I'm hoping this goes well. I've been really excited about this project for a while, so I really wanted to share it. And this video is going to be unscripted because I feel like I talk better when I'm not reading from a script. So I hope this is fun and that you enjoy. Okay, so first things first, let me explain the project. Basically, warrior cats are well known for not having very accurate or possible colors and patterns, so what I'm doing is making genetics work for warrior cats instead of the other way around. Basically, I'm changing how they work and what is possible, to the best of my knowledge, to make it as possible, but I'm not 100% totally experienced on this topic, so I'm just doing my best. Also, by the way, my sources for this come from Messybeast and Garden of Willows on Tumblr, so please go check them out. Their resources were very helpful for this, and I'm going to probably be using some of Garden of Willow's images to show what the actual cats look like in comparison. So first let's start with the solid colors, and the first solid color we'll start with is the black-based colors, which includes black, brown, and cinnamon on normal cats, and the first thing you'll notice is that I made dilution a scale, where you'll notice I made it so that instead of dilution being completely recessive, it's a spectrum from both capital D's and then capital D and lowercase d and then both recessive D's, so that it includes all of the colors that are described in warrior cats, like pale and light and dark grays and colors like that. So also you may notice that instead of the caramelization gene, I've replaced it with the saturation gene. This was just so I could have a way to make blue and lilac, because I removed lilac in order to make brown a gradient. So also in the books, no cat is ever really described as cinnamon as far as I can remember, but because it's an actual cat color, I wanted to include it, and it leads to some easier possibilities with cats like One Star for them, because he's typically seen as an orangey brown, and also because when I dilute it, I can use it as an excuse for Rose Petal to be dark cream, which most people tend to represent as like a pale pinkish color, but not very saturated, as you'll see later. By the way, all of the examples you see here are just my headcanon colors for the cats, and so that doesn't have to influence your designs at all. I stopped adding examples for the most part on the next couple pages, just because I got bored of looking through the allegiances, trying to find what colors every single cat is, so I could desperately try and find one that works, and especially for white spotting, the patterns are too subjective on every cat, so I just stopped using examples except for when I specifically changed things. So just like on normal cats, the scale from black to brown to cinnamon is in order of dominance. So cinnamon is recessive to brown, brown is recessive to black. So if a black gene is present with either of them, they won't show up and the cat will be black-based with whatever dilution gene it has. Also, the golden brown here, using the saturation gene, is a, quotes, false golden brown. And this was so that I could make bracken fur and lion blaze different colors while both being described as golden brown. And I think that's pretty much all for the black-based colors, so let's move on to the orange-based colors. So the orange-based colors. I've added red and yellow because cats are described as those colors in the books, even though they're not possible in real life. And this made the orange gene work a lot more like the black, even though it's naturally just orange and then wild type. The addition of red and its dilution gave me the opportunity to put my favorite color as a cat color, so I'm very happy with this result because I love pink, if you couldn't tell by my character design and aesthetic. Because of dark ginger, it actually made normal ginger the middle dilution point, but I think that works fine because I think that'll be the most common one that shows up typically. Just because I think a combination of dominant and recessive genes is pretty easy to get with the cats that we have. Now, for my examples, it was actually harder to find examples for this one because there's so much more range in the black and brown colors. And you can see I didn't get any examples for light pink, pale pink, or raspberry. Other than that, my berry nose is a little more cream, my cherry fall is a little more orange, and my rowan star is a little more red, but that should be the only ones that are really different from the examples I used. The gingers work the same way as the black-based ones, so that's pretty much all I have to say. The only thing I really needed to explain was the addition of red and yellow. Oh, forgot to mention that some of the cats I used as examples might have stripes. These are just examples for the color though, not for the actual pattern that they are. So now we can move on to the striping. So first is the type of stripes, and these are... I didn't actually change them from what cats actually look like, so I'll just explain them very briefly. Classic tabby striping is the most recessive, while mackerel striping is the most dominant, and then spotting is the midpoint. In order to get a broken mackerel, you add spotting to a normal mackerel. And then you need a pattern modifier for marble, braided, broken braided, and rosetted tabbies. And then tick tabby is another gene that can be added to have just either residual stripes on the legs or no stripes at all. And then you can add a charcoal modifier to make your black tabby gray instead of brown, which, by the way, all of these are black tabbies instead of being brown, and you can tell because their stripes are black and not brown like a brown tabby's would be. The charcoal modifier is one of the ways you get cats like dark stripe. And now that's all for tabby patterns, so let's move on to tabby colors. And these are also pretty simple, so I probably won't spend too long on them either. So first things first, except for black tabby, you might notice that every cat's stripes are just a darker color of its base coat. And I've used mackerel as my base tabby pattern, but they could be any tabby pattern with any color. And that's pretty much all I have to say for tabby colors, so we can move on to white spotting. White spotting is pretty simple, but I've added two things, and I also want to explain how it works in general. So white spotting is a spectrum using the white gloving gene and the white spotting gene to determine how much white any cat has on it. And most of the time the patterns will be random, but here are just some standard ones that pop up occasionally. The first thing I added is white petals, which show up for cats like Blossom Fall and Kestrel Flight, my designs for Soul and Redtail, and my OC Rosepaw. These are just small white spots, and I probably should have made another version for big white blotches for Puddleshine and Lilyheart, but I wasn't thinking about them when I designed this. The next thing I added was the reverse van for Black Star so that his paws could be black, and it's called the reverse van because on a van, it's the ears and tail that are colored, so I thought it would be funny because this one just the paws are colored. Also, while being a normal cat pattern, the Harlequin should be pretty recognizable as some certain cat. Other than these examples given, the white patches tend to be pretty random, but most of the time they are located around the paws and legs and face. And with that explanation of white spotting, we can move on to another completely original thing I've added called cream spotting. Cream spotting has all the same patterns as white spotting, but as the name suggests, is a cream color instead. This type of spotting tends to be paired with brown cats as seen in Leaf Star and Mole Whisker. This also gives the opportunity to make Sasha more accurate to her actual design than the normal color point that most people tend to make her, because in her normal design she does only have her ears and tail colored, so making her a van with cream spotting makes it more accurate to what her design looks like. Instead of having a full white, this version has a full cream, which is just normal cream but unshaded pretty much. And that's it for the white and cream spotting, so let's move on to our tortoiseshells. I've changed a lot for the tortoiseshells. So the first thing I did is make it so that both sexes can be tortoiseshells, because there are so many male tortoiseshells like Redtail and Red Willow and Soul, although my Soul is a chimera, so that kind of fixes that point. But anyway, there are so many male tortoiseshells that I think it would just be a better idea to make it not sex-linked at all. I don't know how to do this with, like, changing the chromosomes, like maybe put color also on the Y or something, but that's not a me problem. I'm gonna just continue with this. So another thing I've done is separate the dilution gene into both the colors so you can have a cat that's half diluted, because normally if you had, like, say, a gray cat, it would have pale ginger spots, but now you can have a gray cat with dark ginger spots, or a black cat with pale pink spots, and stuff like that. I've also done the same with the saturation gene, But anyway, yeah, there's tortoiseshells, which are just the basic colors, and then there's torbies, which are tortoiseshells plus tabby patterns, and then there's tortoiseshell in white, which is tortoiseshell plus a little bit of white, and then calico, which is tortoiseshell but a lot of white. I mostly just did the dilution thing for fun, but I guess Rosetail benefits from it, so I don't know, I think it's a win. It led to a really cool OC. But anyway, yeah, that just leads to more fun options with colors for the tortoiseshells, so I think overall it's a good decision. Next to explain is color points. There aren't many of these in warrior cats, but I still thought they were important to include. So there are 3 levels of body darkness for these. Sepia point being the darkest, color point being the lightest, and mink point being in the middle. This is just changing how dark the body is. The extremities are going to be the same color no matter which point it is, as long as they're the same color of color point, of course. Then if you add a tabby pattern, it'll only show up on the points with the color and not on the white spots. And then at the bottom I put some examples of other colors of color points, but they can be any color that a cat can be. And that's pretty much all for the color points, so let's move on to the wide banding. So this is the one I understand the least, but it's important for Longtail, who is my boy, so I need to try and explain this one to the best of my ability. So I pretty much just straight up copied Garden of Willows diagram for this one, so I'm really thankful that they had that, and I'm gonna show it on screen. But pretty much how it works is that wide banding affects how much color difference there is between the stripes and the base coat, and then rufusing affects how reddish it is in color, how saturated, and then the silver gene is how you get silver cats, like Bumblestripe. And Silverstream, I forgot Silverstream, don't forget Silverstream, she's the most silver cat ever. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much how that works, and that's how you get another cat like Darkstripe as well. And if you add a silver gene to a solid color cat, that's how you get a smoke. Anyway, that's all I've prepared, so I think I'm pretty much done with this video. I'm going to try to be making more, maybe. If you have any ideas, let me know if anyone ever sees this. I'm thinking about maybe clan gen or just like talking about warrior cats in general. I could also talk about my OCs if anyone would like to see that. Let me know in the comments. Again, if anyone actually sees this. I might end up making a part 2 or just like a follow-up for anything that I definitely missed, because I am definitely not educated on this. This is just from personal research and obsession. So if I missed anything or any cats, let me know, and I might make a part 2. Also, I did not include how eye colors work because I do not understand those at all. I'm so sorry. But anyway, yeah, that's the video. Bye! Okay.